Hey, it's Chris. Today I want to give you my first impressions on the brand new Apple Pencil Pro. Basically, what I want to help you do is figure out, is it worth it? Please keep in mind though, as time goes on, I'm definitely going to give you a full in-depth review. At this point though, the Apple Pencil already has some really great features. We already had double tap, we already had hover, we already have magnetic pairing and storing, scribble, of course, and that's on top of all the regular tilt and other sensors that we've had for a long time as well. Now, let me just point out, you could definitely look at this and say, well, it's the same old Apple Pencil. I can tell there's no changes. I mean, it might look the same, but it's not the same. But the reason I bring this up is because a lot of people kind of make this mistake for the iPad in general, thinking that the looks somehow equate to the actual functionality. Lo and behold, the new iPad Pro looks like an iPad. You shouldn't be amazed. And yeah, the same thing goes for the Apple Pencil here. So I'm making it my mission in this video to help you figure out why this is different and if it's worth it. I'll spend some time at the end of the video too, kind of clarifying what your options are for the Apple Pencil and the various iPads. Before we get any further though, it's my productivity course, and I gotta let you know, it's 50% off right now, as are all of my courses, including the new one, Freeform Unleash, because I'm celebrating the launch of the new iPads and all the great accessories, so don't miss out, that's linked up down below. All right, let's kick things off with the squeeze functionality. I think for the average person, being able to now squeeze the Apple Pencil right where you see me squeezing it is where most of the new value from this Apple Pencil Pro is going to come from. Here's why. Before the Apple Pencil Pro showed up, you actually had to come up here to this top tool set and tab on the tools to make a selection. And then your tools would show up on some part of the screen wherever you had last stashed them. Meaning, in other words, you had to stop whatever you're doing, go to the tool, and then come back. But now when you squeeze the Apple Pencil, the tools actually come to your Apple Pencil. So it kind of saves you from getting out of whatever flow you're in. And so here in Freeform, where I'm demoing this, it brings up your tools, you can expand them. It's really great. Now I can pick from whatever and just get right back to writing or editing or drawing, whatever I'm doing. And it's got all the options that you would need. You can come in and change colors, that's nice. If you can select the width of a particular stroke for, depending on whatever tool you're using, you can do that there. You can also mess with the opacity. And for Apple's Pencil Kit toolset, one of my favorite things is the new undo. So if I hold down on the undo button, I get a stepped approach to undo. And I can just keep going around in a circle to undo and redo things and really dial in exactly how much of an undo I wanna lock in. So obviously those are some nice, cool upgrades, but it doesn't just end there. The real value with Squeeze comes from developers being able to choose what happens when you squeeze your Apple Pencil within their app. So if I'm in Procreate, for instance, and I create a layer and I put something on that layer, I can actually squeeze to select various layers. Wow. So a whole step gets saved here by being able to squeeze and select that layer instead of having to actually go into the layers and select right there. But let me show you an app like Zinnia, which is kind of a journaling app. If I come in and I use the squeeze functionality here, I've got a whole different sort of a alternative pencil kit that shows up. Let's take a look at SketchUp. So this is a 3D scan of a hotel room, I believe. And if I give the Apple Pencil a squeeze here, you can see I've got a completely different looking menu here. So this developer really spent some time thinking about how they want this to look and the functionality. So again, bringing the tools to me instead of me having to go search for them, but it makes it a much more intuitive and interesting, frankly, interface. Let me give you another example of Procreate. So this is Procreate Dreams here. I don't know if you've ever used that. It's for animation, and I can take the pencil and scrub through here. But what's cool is I actually have a play pause button with the squeeze functionality here. So if I hit squeeze, then it's actually playing. I can squeeze again to stop on the perfect frame. The squeeze actually functions as a remote control. And you can see I'm doing this from quite a ways up here, and I can play and pause from a distance. A lot of the stuff on the Apple Pencil is kind of one size fits all. You get the double tap and it works similar in a lot of apps. Hover is just hover in whatever app that it's in. But with Squeeze, you're able to get a different experience for all the different apps that you use, depending on developer support. And that's really compelling. So next up, let's talk a little bit about Haptic. So right now I'm doing the squeeze, and it doesn't matter if I squeeze or double tap, I'm actually getting some feedback from the motor within the Apple Pencil, letting me know that I did in fact take an action, that an action was performed. I love this, not only because the feedback is good, it brings the Apple Pencil to life in a brand new way, and also because I think developers are gonna find some really cool ways to use that, but it actually is very practical. Sometimes I have this tool palette hidden off over to the corner and it's actually blocked by my wrist. And when that's the case and I can't actually see, when I do a double tap, I don't know previously without the haptics if anything happened or what tool I have selected. I gotta move and kind of like find that and figure it out. But with the haptics, I know whatever I wanted to happen happened because I get a tap, which means you don't necessarily have to have the visuals to understand what's going on just intuitively. So I feel like whenever the haptics show up, it's ultimately smoothing out the Apple Pencil experience. It's building it out. It's making it more full featured. You know, with the hover feature, which we've had for a while, which is really cool and I enjoy it. And as you can see, when I hover, you get this really great shadow, which is digital. And a lot of people don't realize this, but if I double tap and switch to my eraser, then when I hover again, I'm actually getting a different shadow on the board. So let me do that live so you can see, okay? Now it's a pencil. Now it's the eraser, and it looks like the other end of the Apple Pencil, which is funny because there is no eraser on this end of the pencil. But the haptics just add that extra dimension to what is a partially physical but partially digital experience. When you think about it, you don't get haptics like that from a regular pen or pencil that you're using. It's true that when you write on paper, there's that feedback from the tip hitting the actual paper, that texture there. But the haptics here are a purely digital thing, and it's something that really makes the Apple Pencil come alive in a way that old school things just don't. And that leads us to the barrel roll. I'm gonna get the highlighter here in freeform and get us a color that's real easy to see, along with a thick stroke, so that as I turn this, because that's what barrel roll does, it tracks when you turn the Apple Pencil like this, when you rotate it, you can see that register. So I'm just hovering right now. You can see what that looks like. It's tracking that stroke in the preview there. So if I start drawing and I turn the pencil, that registers now. That's new. That's called barrel roll. And you're gonna be able to put that to some really interesting creative uses. So I can go from underline to highlight, for instance, right there. I'm gonna be honest with you, barrel roll is one of those features that I don't think the average Apple Pencil user who's just maybe doing some note taking or some basic sketching is really gonna appreciate. But then I'm gonna be equally honest with you and say that I think there are certain people and professionals that are gonna find barrel roll very, very compelling. You know, I personally get kind of tired of people saying, oh, the iPad, it's only for consuming, it's not for creating. Well, you know, that's just what somebody would say if they don't use it for creating, which is just to say that people use the Apple Pencil in so many different ways that you would lose count. You can't track all the ways, right? And just because I use it a certain way or you use it a certain way doesn't mean other people aren't using it to create a lot of really cool and a lot of really compelling stuff. And mostly it's just gonna end up depending on whether or not the app developers for the apps that I use the most with the Apple Pencil end up putting the barrel roll to good use or not. So it's kind of up to their imagination. The more imaginative the app developers are, the more imaginative I can be as well. Something that's really awesome here is the new Find My integration. I love this so much. It's such a small feature, and it's one of those features that you don't need until you really need it. It wasn't that long ago that I actually lost my Apple Pencil for, I don't know, a month and a half or something. It was hanging out buried in the closet underneath a bunch of stuff, and I was looking for it, couldn't find it. I mean, to the point of like, well, maybe I need to go out and buy another Apple Pencil, right? This is ridiculous, I gotta use it. That's something that could have been solved instantly if my old Apple Pencil had Find My baked in like the Pro. I love that the Apple Pencil charges and stores magnetically, but that could be a stronger bond up there. I also love the Magic Keyboard because it's so simple and minimal, but the thing is, it doesn't have a loop that keeps that Apple Pencil on no matter what when you throw it in the backpack, or I take it in the car sometimes and it gets lost down between the seats. I don't know if that's ever happened to you. There's plenty of times in real life where the Apple Pencil can get lost. So Find My, I'm rattling on here, is really, really great. Let's talk a little bit about the Apple Pencil lineup in general. There's a lot of Apple Pencils now, and I see a lot of people being like, well, it's too cluttered, which one do I pick? What you should know is each iPad has 2 Apple Pencil options. Again, options are a good thing. You have 2 options for each iPad. If one of your options is the iPad Pro, I would say, here's what makes it worth it to me. It's the squeeze functionality. If nothing else, the squeeze alone is worth springing for. So in my opinion, 1000%, if you're somebody who's optimizing for the Apple Pencil on the latest Air or the latest Pro, then this is a no-brainer. And I wanna be clear, this isn't just nicer in like a luxury sort of way. I'm taking a screenshot right here, and this is coming up right here, so the markup tools are a little bit easier to get at. This is nicer in a legitimately better sort of way. My iPad is better now. It is definitely more pro. By the way, if you want to be a productivity pro or you want to be a pro at Freeform, then you should check out my courses. They're 50% off. Reminder right now for a limited time to celebrate the launch of the new iPads, which I'm so excited about. I'm excited about it all. Some people are buying all the courses for 50% off. I mean, I guess if you're going to do that, now's the time to do it. It's linked up down below. Stay tuned for more iPad Pro coverage and more just Apple coverage in general. If you're new around here, get subscribed, and I'll catch you in the next video. Later.